We are completely tired of watching players who only know how to block. Our offense desperately needs real receiving threats to support our starting quarterback. This news features a confirmed arrival from the Miami Dolphins on a risky one-year deal. Carolina grabbed an older veteran tight end who brings a tough injury history, but remains a massive danger near the end zone. Stick around until the end, hit that like button, and subscribe to our channel with us today. Darren Waller signed a one-year contract with the Carolina Panthers today, a move the organization is transparently labeling as a high-stakes gamble. This acquisition marks a pivot point for a roster currently struggling with production at the tight end position. While Tommy Tremble and Mitchell Evans provide blocking help, they have struggled to impact the passing game, and Ja'Tavion Sanders has remained frustratingly unproductive over 2 full seasons. I have watched this front office search for a reliable target to pair with Bryce Young, and Waller represents a desperate effort to fix a glaring hole in the red zone. The veteran is now 34 years old and carries significant baggage regarding his durability, having missed 19 games between 2021 and 2023. He has not completed a full season since 2020. However, his performance last year with the Miami Dolphins showed he still possesses the frame and athleticism that once made him a nightmare for defenders, as he recorded 6 touchdowns in only 9 games. Interestingly, he posted a career-best 78 receiving yards against these very Panthers last season, which surely influenced this decision. Here's the thing nobody wants to say. Adding a player with this medical history is a clear indicator that the staff had no other viable options to improve the passing attack this late in the calendar. Many fans are rightfully skeptical about whether his body can hold up under the physical grind of another season, especially given the clear decline in his availability over recent years. Is this aging star really the answer for an offense that has been stagnant for far too long? I'm left wondering if this signing is the final piece to spark Bryce Young or just a temporary distraction from larger roster issues that still need to be addressed. Why would the front office commit to such a precarious veteran presence after years of frustration at the tight end spot? This decision is grounded in a desperate internal assessment that the current depth chart simply lacks the capability to threaten an opposing defense in the middle of the field. My assessment of the situation suggests that ownership is prioritizing immediate, albeit aging, production over the long-term development of younger players who have failed to gain traction. Now here's the thing, the team identified this specific opening as a glaring vulnerability because their existing roster options have been essentially invisible in the passing game. Behind closed doors, the staff seems to be gambling that the raw size and specific matchup advantages Darren Waller provides could create space for others, assuming he remains on the active roster. History shows that relying on a player who has missed 19 games over a 3-year span is a calculated risk that often fails to pay dividends, especially at 34 years of age. I have watched many similar experiments across the league, and they rarely provide the stability a coach like Dave Canales needs to build a consistent rhythm. The front office is clearly betting that the 6 touchdowns Waller produced in just 9 appearances with the Miami Dolphins last season can be replicated, even if the durability concerns remain unavoidable. Perhaps they view his career-best 78-yard performance against their own defense as proof that he still possesses the unique athleticism to alter a game's outcome. Does this move genuinely solve the underlying stagnation of the offense, or does it merely delay the inevitable need for a younger, more durable solution? My gut tells me this one-year deal is a stopgap measure, reflecting a front office that feels extreme pressure to produce results regardless of the long-term risks involved. That is the breakdown of the transaction itself, but let's transition into what this signing actually means for the outlook of the season. To me, the urgency behind this deal is palpable because the front office is clearly acknowledging that their existing tight end group lacked any true threat to stress a defense vertically. By bringing in a veteran with such a specific, albeit checkered resume, the staff is signaling they are willing to accept potential downtime in exchange for a few high-impact games. Here is where it gets interesting. How does this shift the internal expectations for someone like Bryce Young? He finally has a target who understands how to leverage his frame in the red zone, a dynamic the team has sorely missed during their recent struggles. With this move, the depth chart undergoes a major shakeup. pushing younger, less effective blockers down the line and placing the burden of production squarely on the shoulders of an older player who must prove his body can handle the load. I look at upcoming matchups and wonder if this is the precise adjustment needed to catch division rivals off guard. The Panthers have lacked an identity on offense for too long, and while relying on a 34-year-old is a massive gamble, it provides a measurable upgrade over the current production levels. If he can replicate even half of that 6-touchdown output he posted in Miami, the entire calculation regarding playoff viability changes. Does this make them an immediate threat? Probably not, but it forces opposing coordinators to pay attention to a position that was previously ignored by every defense on the schedule. My take is that the organization decided one explosive, experienced target was better than another season of hoping for development that simply wasn't happening on the practice field. Betting on a veteran like Darren Waller provides a clear, high-ceiling boost that the Panthers have simply been unable to find elsewhere on their current roster. By adding him on a one-year deal, the organization secures a proven red zone threat whose size and catch radius offer Bryce Young a security blanket he has desperately craved since his rookie campaign. Let's be real, the upside here is undeniable when you look at the 6 touchdowns he hauled in over 9 games last year with Miami. He is physically capable of winning contested balls in ways that Tommy Tremble and Mitchell Evans simply cannot, providing a vertical element that has been absent in Charlotte. However, I have to address the elephant in the room regarding his durability. Counting on a 34-year-old athlete who has missed 19 games in recent seasons is, as the organization noted, a genuine gamble that could leave the position thin again if he goes down. Some analysts around the league argue that this desperation signing highlights a failure to develop Jatavian Sanders, who has been largely invisible on the field. Others point out that if his body holds up, this could be the smartest low-cost acquisition of the cycle. My honest take here is that while the skepticism is warranted, the potential for immediate production outweighs the injury risk for a team that has been stagnant at the tight end spot for years. Watching him post 78 yards against Carolina previously gave the brass the confidence to pull this trigger. But I still wonder if relying on past highlights is enough to fix a broken offense. Does this move actually elevate the entire unit or just hide the lack of depth? I suspect this is merely a stopgap to see if they can survive the current year. When you combine the reality of this contract with the tactical void it attempts to fill, the picture that emerges is one of extreme, calculated desperation. The bottom line here is that the front office has essentially stopped waiting for their developmental tight ends to show progress. My assessment is that this is a win-now move that carries massive volatility. They are sacrificing long-term roster stability for the faint hope that a veteran like Darren Waller can salvage a stagnant passing attack. This acquisition signals that the franchise is willing to absorb the high risk of recurring injury if it buys them even a slight chance at immediate, meaningful production in the red zone. Does a 34-year-old veteran with significant durability baggage truly offer enough reliability to justify cutting ties with younger projects? Or is this just another band-aid on a gaping wound? I honestly feel that relying on past flashes of brilliance is a dangerous game for a team needing a firm foundation, but I understand the